On a blue-skied summer morning, place Pasteur in the historic centre of Besançon is abuzz with colourful market stalls selling trinkets and antiques. But it's also here that residents bring a different kind of valuable good every weekday to give away for free. As time ticks by, individuals and families stroll over to a trash can with a green lid at one end of the square, open it, and empty containers brought from home filled with banana skins, egg shells, carrot peel, zucchini heads, parsley stalks, and more. I tried setting up composting in my building, but it was difficult. I always ended up having to do all the work, says Alex, a resident who is here to drop off food scraps with his young daughter. That circular system is just one cog in the pioneering efforts of France's composting capital, which has been fighting for nearly 2 decades to cut waste. It doesn't make financial or ecological sense to throw all our vastly different waste in the same trash can, the authorities argue, so why do we? As the world wakes up to the importance of minimizing waste and maximizing use of our planet's finite resources, the example of Besançon, which has significantly cut the waste it produces, could provide lessons. Besançon's foray into fighting organic waste began around 2008, when the region's authorities opted not to replace the older of 2 incinerators used to burn waste. At the time, there was public outcry against the pollution they produced, and constructing a new incinerator would have cost tens of millions of euros. So we decided not to renew it, says Daniel Hewitt, head of waste management for Grand Besançon Entropole, or Greater Besançon, the urban region encompassing the city of Besançon, which is home to 200,000 people. What that meant, we had to work very hard to reduce the waste we produce, weighed down by negative news. Our Smart Bright weekly newsletter is the uplift you've been looking for. With only one incinerator set to serve the region in the future, authorities took a highly adaptive approach to encouraging residents to sort and reduce the waste they produced. A particular focus was given to organic waste like kitchen scraps, which are about 90% water, making burning them a very inefficient use of energy and a significant creator of emissions. Food waste is responsible for about 16% of the total emissions from the EU food system. Globally, food loss and waste account for 8 to 10% of greenhouse gas emissions, nearly 5 times the emissions of the aviation sector, according to the UN. So, over the years, Greater Besançon introduced a multi-pronged strategy of communication, infrastructure, and policy. It launched radio, television, and newspaper campaigns to raise public awareness about household and organic waste, and introduced a levy in 2012 requiring households to pay based on the weight of their trash. The less they produced, the less they would have to pay. It also tailored the waste collection system to urban and rural settings and the so-called peri-urban area between the two. Some 25,000 individual households with sufficient space have been provided with trash cans for their organic waste, while 350 shared residences apartment blocks, more or less, have been given communal organic containers, requiring resident volunteers to educate their neighbours about composting and ensure non-compostable materials aren't deposited. These different approaches are all part of the fix, says Hewitt. There is not one single answer. Authorities had initially wanted to install permanent composting points in the historic centre of Besançon to broaden the services available to households, but they were refused permission due to building regulations and lack of space. So we were forced to rethink, says Hewitt. This was the inception of the pop-up drop-off points. In 2022, a pilot was launched. They found residents wanted longer availability times, so they were extended by 2 hours a day. We realised people came earlier, so we listened and adjusted, says Romain Panettiere, a waste collector for Trivial Compost, the private company contracted by the city to do the work. After 1 year, 727 households had signed up, and more had joined since. Residents who must sign up for access, giving them a code to open the cans, deposited 20 tons of organic waste at the half-dozen drop-off points in 2024. Improving how waste is collected and treated is one thing, but Besançon authorities have also worked hard to reduce the waste inhabitants produce to start with. In 2016, the first zero waste grocery store in Besançon, Lovrax, opened, and others soon followed. They have no packaging or single-use bags. The Zero Waste Besançon Association was also created in 2018 to inform citizens and encourage decision-makers to adopt more responsible anti-waste practices. As a result of these efforts, Greater Besançon has reduced its household waste by a remarkable 42%. In 2008, each inhabitant produced an average of 210 kilograms of residual household waste, which included organic waste as well as all other unrecycled wastes. By 2012, that had fallen to 225 kilograms compared to an average of 240 kilograms nationwide. Authorities estimate that 80% of the population in Greater Besançon now has access to composting facilities. Sharp PTN, source Greater Besançon Entropol, Manon Jordan, who works for Zero Waste Europe, a network of associations working together to scale up zero waste initiatives across the continent, says that organic waste efforts can have a huge range of benefits, from cutting emissions to helping fight the widespread issue of degraded land in the EU. It's a resource we're not exploiting enough, she says. Ludovic Sixtenaya, in charge of composting at Cybet, which is responsible for collecting and treating all waste in Greater Besançon, claims that, given its years of experience, the region now has one of the best systems of waste management in France. Wait, you're not a member yet? Join the Reasons to be Cheerful community by supporting our